Okay, so let us continue. So it seems there were some crashes. I hope the remaining... I hope the ones that are still here are not Byzantine. Okay, so let us continue. So this universal construction, so let us, a short reminder. So we want to build an algorithm that takes as an input, a discrete algorithm is taking as an input the specification of an object that has a sequential specification, okay? For example, a stack, a graph, a set, okay, a lot of objects have sequential specification. Not all the objects, okay? You have objects that have no sequential specification, okay? So in this case. Second, all the operation return a result, okay? But that's not complicated. Now, so we want to build an algorithm is taking that as an input. The algorithm is distributed, okay? Each of us has to execute something. And the result is we obtain this the stack, the object we want to build, okay? And the property are, it is correct. When we return a result, the result is correct. And if you don't crash, each time you invoke an operation, you have a result. You return, okay? You terminate your operation, okay? So what we need, and in which model? Because that's important, okay? So in the model, crash, asynchronous, read-write, that's all. The only way to communicate is read and write. That's the problem is impossible to solve, okay? Fortunately, machine propose more than read-write. They propose swap, test and set, etc., okay? And here, I'm looking at the operation, link load, store conditional. So I'm repeating, it's easier to use for this problem than compare and swap, but the computability power, okay, of LLSC is the same as compare and swap, okay? None of them is more powerful than the other one, okay? So in this context, so what we need an array with one entry per process, okay? And in this array board, only you can write your entry, or everyone can read it. And this array, I'm assuming, is atomic, okay? But, sorry, each entry of the array is atomic, okay? But when you do update, so you assign a new value to your entry, and you collect, this operation is not atomic, you read asynchronously all the entries, okay? And you collect them, and you have them. Then, the second data structure we need is, we have state, and state will be accessed by LL and SC, okay, with this operation. So state is a big variable, okay, it contains the value, the current value of the object, okay, and it contains, as usual, control information, okay. But here, usually in a lot of cases, sequence number is sufficient, if you know the trick, okay. Here is more, a little bit more complicated, but actually it's pretty simple. So you have, for each process, okay, you have an array with an entry per process, and the pair, okay, we have here the sequence number of the last operation issued by PI, is entry number I here, and in res I, the result of this operation, of the last operation issued by PI, okay? So, remember? You remember, so when a process, so that first part of the algorithm, of the universal construction, when you want to execute the operation OP with the input parameter in on the object you are building, okay? What you would do, so you register, you post, we say also we post, okay, on the board, the information, okay? That's the operation I want to execute, okay? The associated sequence number, and update that it will be written in your entry, okay? Then you prepare for the next time, and you execute apply. At the end, you will return a result, and the result is deposited in the state res I, the result for you, for your last operation, okay? So the core of the algorithm is, of course, apply. So, you remember, when you apply, you read the variable state. This read is atomic, okay? You obtain the instantaneous, the value of the state and the two array, sequence number and result. Then you read the content of board. This does not need to be atomic, okay, I said. So you read one after the other, okay, all the entry. So here you read with this variable the state of the object, okay, and here you read asynchronously in another part, in another variable, okay, what the processes want to do, okay. This has been registered in the array board, okay, it has been posted, okay. When you have these two information, okay, the state of the object, you obtain, and it is correct, because this is an atomic operation. You look for any process. So for example, process number L. You look, the sequence number that was in the board, okay, for the entry of the process, okay. It is the next one in the state. LS is the state you obtain, okay. So LS plus 1, okay, it is the next one. Oh, you say, okay, PL want to execute the operation it has deposited with this sequence number, okay? Because it has not yet been executed, applied to the object. That's what you can conclude with the control information you have. I never said it's the real information, okay, but it's what you have, okay? We are in a distributed system, okay, no global state, etc. So what you do, you apply delta, the transition function of the object, on the current value of the state, ls dot value, and you apply the operation that PL want to apply, okay? You obtain the result and the new state, okay? So what you do is the following, and then you deposit R. It was an operation by PL, so the result for process PL is this result, okay? And then you say the sequence number of the next operation is the next one. Okay? You do the plus 1, okay? And then you do that at your pace, okay, at your speed, etc. And when it is finished, you execute this, okay? So the rule is, you remember this operation, is no one wrote in LL between your invocation of LL, you read, and your invocation of the right, conditional write, then you are successful, okay? Your write will be applied, okay? Otherwise, someone else wrote inside, and here you obtain false, okay? And what you computed, okay, is put in the garbage, okay? Is not used, okay? So that's the algorithm, okay? So what we saw just before the break was that first, if you are correct, you terminate your operation, okay? You invoke, you remember, you execute that, there is no wait statement. You execute that, there is a loop, okay, executed statement executed n times, etc. Okay, so you terminate. So wait freedom, we have wait freedom as a progress condition, okay? Second, it was can an operation be executed more than once, okay? The answer is no. It's only because when you suppose you are successful, okay? So you executed an operation for PL, but just after you say plus 1, okay, this becomes this value, you change the value, and then if you are successful, it was written in shared memory, okay? If you are successful, okay? The new sequence number, okay? So the plus 1 was recorded in the shared memory, okay? So no operation can be executed twice. So the most important question, the last important question is the result correct? Okay? So let us look at an execution. Actually, so the answer is not. But to repair the algorithm will be very easy, okay? So, to show it is not correct, I need to produce a counterexample, okay? That's all. So let us consider two processes, PI and PJ, okay? PI and PJ. So PI will execute these statements, okay? And PJ will execute this one, okay? So you remember the LL operation, SSE operation, the read in the board and the write in the board are atomic. Okay? It means that I can consider they have been executed one after the other in some sequence. Okay? That's the key for reasoning. Okay? So let us consider, for example, this case. Here, process PJ executed state.ll. So it obtained a copy of the variable state, okay? Then it executed board collect, okay? So it read the n entry one after the other in any order, etc. Okay. So at this point, this point, this point. Here, I suppose there are three only. Okay. So from a atomicity point of view, first this one, then each reading is reading each entry of the board. Okay. It obtains them. Okay. And then it's finished. He read the board, all the entries in the board, 1 to n. Okay. Then at this time, PI is registering in the board OPN with some sequence number, okay? And this occurs after that. That's important, okay? So it means that PJ first read the board, but the last operation by PI is not read by PJ, okay? Because it terminated reading the array at this point, okay? PI now is updating its entry of the board with this operation in its sequence number, okay? Later, we follow the algorithm. PI is reading, after that, you remember, we do apply, is reading LL, okay? And later is doing a store conditional, okay? Now, let us come back to PJ. PJ at this time, okay? You remember, he read that, it obtains the pair, but in the pair there is not the one from PI, okay? And then state.ssc successful, okay? Now, so it applies all the operations that are here and that are not yet been applied to the object are applied now, okay? But in this set, there is no the operation by PI, okay? Because it has been deposited in the board after. So after, PI continue, it executes this, but this is not successful, okay? Why? Because between his LL and his store conditional, there is a write, okay? So it does not succeed. But it terminates. Remember, it terminates the operation, okay? So when it terminates the operation, so let us return, sorry. So it terminates the operation, okay? There is nothing else, okay? So apply for PI is finished. Okay, so it terminates apply, but you see it's returning something. What it is returning? It is returning the result of the previous operation it invoked. Okay? Okay? So it is incorrect. Okay? Here is returning what is in this state I.res I, okay? Is returning this value, okay? But as you see, this operation has not been applied because it was not registered here when PJ read the board, okay, it was not inside, it has been written after, okay? So it has not been applied. So the algorithm is incorrect. So how to make it correct? Okay, so you are close to the solution, yes. So what we can do is the following. So let us reason, okay? Let us assume, so if, so what is the condition that if the condition is satisfied, we are sure at least one SSC is successful? Okay? Under which condition? So I can, what is the condition under which it is not successful? Okay? Yeah. So if you have an infinite number of processes, okay, it's possible that before I'm doing SSC, another one is doing SSC, okay? Always. So maybe no one is successful. Or in the other way. If we have a finite number of processes, okay? All of us, you see the algorithm, we issue first LL, okay? Speculative equation, LL, local computation, and SSC, okay? But if we are a finite number of processes, and even here is bounded, we are n, okay? Even if all of us issue LL, Okay, then all of us issue SSC. What can we conclude? We can conclude that one of us is the first to execute SSC. Okay? Because SSC are atomic. Okay? As the SSC are atomic, one of us is the first to execute SSC. Okay? So let us consider here the next successful state SSC, okay, that will appear. Okay? Assume there is one that will appear, and it is successful. And it has been executed by some process PK. Okay, suppose. What can we conclude if this pattern happens? So if this one is successful, okay, it means that he issued before LL, you remember, state.ll, okay? It cannot be here. Why? Because if the LL was here, between his LL and his SSC, there is a SSC, okay? Okay? But by assumption, I'm saying this one is successful. So the conclusion is that the LL occur here after this SSC. In the LL by PK and the SSC by PK, there is no SSC by another process. Okay? But if this happens, what can we conclude? This process, it did LL SSC here, okay? So in this case, yes, so necessarily he read in the board, when he read the board, he read this one. He read this value. He read the value deposited by PI, okay? Necessarily, okay? So it means that the process PK, if not done before, when he read the board, there was a pair deposited by PI, and so it executed the value proposed by PI, okay? If it has not been executed before, okay? So what we need to ensure the correctness of the algorithm is not really complicated, is to ensure that there is such a next successful process PK, okay? How to ensure that? And to ensure that, so the solution is very easy, so that's the solution. We only have to do this twice. We do this twice. Once I show you that if we do that, it's not correct, okay? Okay? Now I ask you to do twice, okay? So if you do it twice, if you are successful here, the first time or the second time, it's okay, it's done. If you are not successful, what is the reason? It's because there is a process before you that was successful, okay? And it is you, is LL before yours, okay? So actually, it did the operation for you, okay? So if you do that twice, it's okay. So actually, this algorithm, you see, is a few lines, okay? If you add less than 10 lines, it's not the best one, okay? But it's the simplest. So actually, if you want to compute the complexity, so when we compute the complexity in shared memory, we count, in the worst case, the number of accesses to the shared memory, okay? So here we have twice LL, twice SSC, access, and here n accesses, okay, for the board, okay? So is the magnitude order V2n, okay? So it depends on n is linear, okay? So that's so good. But now I will not do that with this one, but we could say yes. Yes. What I will do now, maybe I'm just maybe to answer you. So what is the proof? The proof is the intuition I describe. You have to write it formally, okay, in order to prevent ambiguities, etc. Okay. So what you have to show is the following. we have to produce the linearization point of the operation. So what it is, so it means that at the higher level, okay, operation on the object, okay, we have to produce a sequence of operation, okay, and this sequence of operation belong to the spec of the object, okay? What we are building, okay, what is built. This, so let us call SSE1, SSE2, etc., the sequence of successful invocation of state. Okay? So that means that are all the writes, conditional writes that were successful, okay? The other one don't write, okay? So we eliminate them. We don't consider them, okay? Now, this sequence is, as this variable, this operation is atomic, this sequence is well defined, okay? Because the definition is atomic, everything appears at the implementation level as is one SSE was before the, was after another one, before, etc. Okay, there is a total order on the SSE. That's the definition. Now, starting from the first one, each store conditional apply at least one operation on the object, at least one, okay? And the operation apply maybe several. For this store conditional is successful, maybe it applies several operations, okay? You remember, you are looping 1 to L, so at least one you apply, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe L, but they are totally ordered. You do one after the other one, okay? So in this case, let us call sec of X the corresponding sequence, okay? And now, we have the following. The sequence of operation applied to the object we are building, okay, is sec1. The sequence of operation applied by the first successful store conditional, followed by sec2, the sequence of operation of the object, okay, applied by the second successful store conditional, etc. Okay, so so if we formalize that and we have the proof that the algorithm is correct, okay? So I'm not sure if I answer you.
Algorithm. Can you please open the slide with the pseudocode? The algorithm.
Which part?
The apply function.
Ah. Yes.
Yes, it seems like we never write to ls.value and we never use new state. It seems like that's incorrect. We should probably write new state to ls.value, right?
No. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but sorry. The fact is, here we show the case that makes the current implementation faulty, okay? And so so my reasoning was the following one. If there is a next successful write, okay? Here. Then, in this case, the process that is used in next successful write, okay? Necessarily, when he reads the board, okay? It obtains this pair, okay? And as the write is successful, if not yet done, it applies this operation. If it was already applied by another process, it don't doing the same twice because we increase sequence number, okay? So if not yet done, it's doing that now, okay? So, sorry. So to introduce a solution into the algorithm, we need to be sure that is a process that will issue a successful write, okay? And one way is to do that twice.
That wasn't the question. The question was that our state variable has a value, right? We have state value. Our state variable is defined to have value in it, right?
It's a sequence of operations. So it's not the value of the object, it's a sequence of operations which are applied to it so far. Yeah. If you come back to the pseudocode, there is this ls value thing. Can you open the slide of the algorithm?
You want to see
Yeah, the apply function.
this one?
So there is this ls value, ls.value variable in delta, in the function delta. What does it use?
I don't see the point. That's why I'm stuck.
Yeah. So how is it used? ls.value.
I don't understand the question, so it's difficult for me to answer. I can do blah 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 in 1 hour if you want, but
Yeah, let's discuss it after. It's just a technical thing. We discuss it after the
Okay, so maybe in order not to complicate, so I'm skipping that. It was an exercise, so maybe we can skip it. So now we assume, so the value of the object we want to build can be small or big, okay? We have seen that with this algorithm, we have some data part, control part, okay? The board and the in state two array with sequence number and operation, okay? The last operation issued by each process and the associated sequence number, okay? Now, large object is an object that whose internal state cannot be copied in one atomic step, okay? So, for example, it's a file, okay? A big file, okay? So, in this case, on a big file, I cannot read atomic, okay? I can read a part of the file and read the second part, etc., okay? So, in this case, how to solve the problem? So, the object, it can be decomposed, okay, in several blocks, okay? This is called blocks. And in this case, so the problem is there are two solutions. They are close but different. One proposed by Maurice Early, so a long time ago. So you have pointer linking blocks, okay? And actually, the LLSC are not done on the state as I did before in the basic algorithm, but on the pointer, okay? Okay, so I modify the pointer, okay, to define the next value of the object, okay? And there is also the solution by German Anderson and Mark Moir, and they are using actually the object is fragmented in a big. You have a big array, and you consider it decomposed in small array. Okay, this is big array. Okay, and here you are also manipulating pointer, but it's a little bit more complicated because actually they want to use as much as possible an algorithm similar to the previous one, and instead of playing with LLSC, they define large LL and large SSC, okay, that can be applied to part of the memory that is not atomic, okay. So the difficulty in this case is in building this large LL and this large SSC, okay, from the basic LL and SSC, okay. But here the problem is for people familiar with compare and swap. So you have some algorithm that cannot be solved with compare and swap, but they can be solved with double compare and swap, okay? So you don't act on one object, but on two objects, okay, instead, okay? And so it's similar, okay? A double compare and swap can be built on top of single compare and swap, okay? So by your software, okay? It's not provided by the machine, but it is possible to build it with an algorithm on top of what is given by a machine, offered by a machine, okay? So now there is something that is interesting, and that's really result because it was published last year. There is a notion of, the name was disjoint access parallel. Is a property, so an implementation as a property was not the property. So it's not a property of a problem, okay? I have a problem, here we have the problem. To build a universal construction, okay? We solve it, we have an algorithm solving the problem. Now, maybe I want to have a property of the implementation, okay? Not of the problem, of the implementation. And usually, the property of the implementation are related to efficiency, okay? I want to have something efficient. So what does it mean? Disjoint access parallel, okay? So if you have two processes, you have an object O, we want to build, and two processes are accessing distinct part of the object, okay? So in this case, what we want that actually they are not actually, so conceptually it means that they are a distinct part of the object. For example, you have a long queue. You have a queue, as an example, okay? As you can see, so the queue, at the beginning, there is this cell, this one, and this one, okay? There are 3 elements in the queue. So it is possible that at the same time, for efficiency point of view, parallelism, one process is doing NQV, okay? Is adding this element at the end of the queue. So now, so he need to modify a pointer of this one to this one and to this one, okay? And another process is doing DQ, okay? So he will suppress this part of the queue, and he need to modify the pointer here, okay, to replace by nil, okay? Okay. So as you see, from a practical point of view, it's possible that the two, the NQ and the DQ, are done simultaneously. Okay? I don't need the notion of speculative execution here. This can be done really, physically, at the same time, okay? So if it is possible, we have the property of disjoint access parallelism, okay? So is it possible or not to build a universal construction with this property? Okay? So the answer was proposed last year by donc Feizelen, Faturu, Panagiotas is the same person that designed the algorithm I presented, Cosmas, Alessia Milani, and Corentin Traverwan are my previous PhD student. Okay. And so the answer is the following. Disjoint access parallelism and weight freedom are incompatible. So if I want to have a universal construction that at the same time ensures weight freedom, so this progress condition, okay, and the implementation has to be disjoint access parallel, okay, that's impossible. Okay. But that's the bad news. But there is a good news. When something is impossible, okay, you can say maybe there is a subpart that where it is possible. Okay, it's not possible in the of the global view, okay, for all the cases, but maybe for some particular case it's possible. And so the answer is the following one. There is a possibility result if for the object containing, for which in any sequential execution, each operation accesses a bounded number of base objects, okay? So the base object previously were board and state, okay? So if you have a bounded number of base objects, it's possible, okay? But the algorithm is terrible. Now, second things, I'm not sure this has been introduced previously, is the notion of abortable object, okay? So what is an abortable object? An abortable object is defined by a sequential specification and with this property. If you execute, if there is an execution in which there is no concurrency, for example, there is a push by me, then there is a pop by you, but there is not in concurrency, there is no conflict, okay? Then all the operations work normally. They return a result, okay, and the result is correct. Now, if there is concurrency, okay, an operation has two possibilities. Either it executes normally and return a correct result, okay, or it returns bottom. Okay? So as soon as you are executing an operation and you discover there is conflict, okay, you are allowed to return bottom, okay? So in this case, an operation returning bottom has no effect on the state of the object. It's exactly as the operation has not been invoked, okay? So the result is all the operations terminate. Now, because if you are alone, you terminate, you don't crash, and if you are not alone, you discover you are not alone, you return bottom, okay? So all the operations terminate. So, and there is a very trivial, that's another exercise, a very trivial exercise consists in simplifying the previous algorithm, universal construction, to have a universal construction, okay, accepting abortable operation, okay, in which some operation can be aborted, okay. So what do we have to do?